Hi YouTube, Brian Phillips here. Got the DX18, got the UMX timber here. Very limited mods because it was a maiden flight. I was running with safe, and I decided that I was, rather than controlling the plane, I would let it fly straight into a no parking sign. That was a bad move. Anyway, luckily this didn't get damaged at all. It just came off. Oh, yes it did. We lost just a little nick on this side. That's no fun. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you just how easy you can fix this stuff. And we're going to start with touching up this black right now, because it's not going to be noticeable, I hope. And if it is, then we can order the part. But for now, we're just going to use a marker for this one. This is what I would call as a nice wet ink. I don't know if there's anything special about these. You could use any Sharpie you got, but this is a nice black instead of a blue black. I was thinking about using paint, but as you can see, you're not really going to notice that. Now, the leading edge slat on this application really saved my butt, because it absorbed a lot of the energy when I hit. The problem is, it's very delicate, okay? So now I have to try to pop this off of here. Oh, by the way, I haven't even unplugged the battery, guys. I literally haven't done anything to it, so I know that we're okay. I'm going to go ahead and throttle cuts off. I'm just going to try to tap out the snow. And if I've got any air pressure left in here, I might try to blow out the last little bit. Yeah, I don't, so we're going to have to cut that off. Let that build up. The idea is you just kind of want to get the debris out of the motor, the water. Okay, so that seems alright. Oh, and then these tires like to get dirty. That's probably good enough for what we're doing. So I'm just going to blow those off real quick. Don't get too aggressive with this. It's just, you know, it's weak stuff. But I figured that's easier than trying to dry it with a towel, you know. Okay. And this is real-time stuff, guys. You know me, I don't do a lot of video editing and stuff, so what's going to happen is you guys will get a shot of what it looks like from the crash and how long it really took me to fix it, and then you can use that in making a decision as to whether or not you'd like to buy this plane. And to be honest with you, I fixed so many UMX planes, it's rather irritating that I already crashed my plane, but that was just a stupid mistake, that's all. So I can't blame anybody but me for that. That was just a screw up. Okay, so this one's okay. This one's got a dent in the wing. We are going to fix that. You won't be able to see it. This we're going to fix. It's not going to be distinguishable except for a small crack, which you'll have to get really close to see because this is white. Okay, so that's almost broken off. We could break it. I think what I might do instead, there's one scuff on the top of the wing. That will also correct. So the first things first, let's check control surfaces. Ailerons, elevator, rudder. Now I'm thinking, it could be in my head, but it almost looks like we have a little bit of a twist here in the body. It's hard to be 100% sure right now because that is deceiving to the eye. All the controls are working, but it's almost like there's a twist in this thing, but I can't specifically see where it would be. Oh, look guys, there it is. It broke the glue free on the tail. That's why it looks like it's twisted, because this is not seated all the way down. Okay, so we're going to take care of that first. Okay, so you see how that lifts up? There's a key in there, and then it's just glued down. So that must not have been glued very good. Okay, so we'll just pop that back down. That should take care of that. And then, is the top of the plane crushed? No, it's not. But this still doesn't look quite square. That's not cool. The wing isn't broken. It's not separated. Alright, so we'll fix this first and we'll come back to that next. So we got to glue that back down. First things first though, let's actually try to pop this off. There's 5 or 6 contact points under here. And I'll just try to rock it off of here. Just get a slow rock going and it'll just peel up whatever little bit of contact point it had. Okay. Alright, so now this is made of very thin, very weak foam. Okay, so I could probably order some, but I'm not going to do that. That's just not my style. Okay, so those you can reseat by just lining up. We're going to use a BSI thin CA. And the reason we use thin on this joint is because it will give us the best chance at success hiding the damage. Okay, so we're just going to get this in here like this. And just let it run in there. So once it's run in there, you can wiggle it a couple of times. Then usually what I'll do is I'll just take off the excess. Okay, the second break point's here. Okay, you want to try to avoid using the gap filling for these small repairs like this. Okay, just let that run down in there. Now the foam safe thin CA and the foam safe medium CA, which is the black cap right there compared to the white cap here from BSI, Bob Smith Industries, it's really expensive, but it's awesome. So it's, I would say it's at least doubly, if not triply as expensive as that purple cap, which is not foam safe. So this stuff is low odor, and it works really good. They call it super gold. It just depends on what. Okay, so a little kicker on there. It's not a painted surface, so you're not going to see anything when this is all said and done. That's my timer going off on the radio from all my testing. Now the other thing is, we're done with that being turned on. We can go ahead and cut that off. Okay, so now I dropped one of the little plasticky things, so just be careful you don't lose it. I'm just lay that back up here where we can work on it. Guys, it is quite frustrating when you crash a plane the first time you're flying it. That was just especially stupid on my part. But everybody makes mistakes, you know. And if you're not willing to crash a plane once in a while, you're probably not going to want to fly. Okay, so this, we just need to close that back up. We'll use the thin CA first. Just kind of get a little bit aggressive on this one, because that excess we'll use to hold that plastic piece back in, guys. So just let it work into the cracks a little bit. Really do your best to avoid getting avoid getting your finger glued to this, because it's thin enough that you'll take a lot of the material with you when you pull your finger away. Okay, so now take special note of which direction these are glued, and then drop that in to where it should fall. Sometimes it helps to use a tool to hold that, like pliers. Okay, so now watch this. I'm going to hold this tight between my index finger and my thumb and just give it some kicker. Both sides. Worst case scenario, we'll end up with a little bump. Okay, so you see this bump? That's going to go away. I'm talking about a bump of CA, because I didn't wipe the excess. That was intentional because of the strength issue. Okay. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close. Now, we have to address this. Let's let this set up, and we're going to go address this. And as is typical fashion for me with my videos, I'm going to give you the no BS, this is really how I did it maneuver. And I want you guys to see how I do this so you can copy. Okay, so we'll just put this down. These are my coats. I just threw those down real quick. So we're going to get some warm water. We'll just get that running. We're going to grab on this. because the nature of where it's dinged, what we'll do is we'll fill this type of cup. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, we'll need, well, let's go see how tall. I'm getting that hot water as hot as I can get out of the faucet. See this? Oh, it's probably on the edge of, I would say we're better off to just use the regular cup. And I'll show you why I'm figuring that right now. These wider cups, these work really good, these work really good. These work good for what we're doing today though. Because what we're going to do is we're going to take and heat up the water and then keep the sponge dry as long as you can. Give yourself a good half a cup of water. You don't want to go much more than half, and there's a reason for that too, because obviously when you now run this in your microwave, it takes so much more time to heat that up, okay? So we're just going to put this away so we don't accidentally bump into it. And then we're going to go, I don't know, like 2 or 3 minutes on the highest setting you can. So what's going to happen is this is going to come out, okay? And you can see it already looks a lot better. It's not perfect, but it's close enough for what we're going to do. I mean, they weren't perfect to begin with. See this one? This one must still be on the wing. Yep, it's still on the wing, so we're okay there. We could either try to break that off or just leave it there. I think we'll end up probably just leaving it there. Now this, some people would try to leave that, and that's perfectly acceptable if you decide to do that. But obviously the best approach is don't crash it in the first place, but it's a little late for that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, once it's done cooking, I might pause it while that heats, but we'll stick this sponge, the dry side, halfway in, okay? We're going to let it absorb the water, and then we're going to take, not the scratchy side, we'll take the soft side, and we're going to lay it on there. So we have to have a position where this plane can rest, preferably not getting the other leading edge slat crushed. But what we'll do is we'll preferably have the portion of the plane that needs to be straight and puffed underneath because heat rises. And then preferably we'll use another rag to kind of contain the heat. If you overdo it, what's going to happen is you'll have little dimples. You can wipe those off with your thumb. It's super easy, it's super quick. Okay, so you see how it's trying to boil, guys? That's our target for temperature. You can go more, it's just going to boil the water out, okay? When you open the microwave, watch what happens. It stops boiling, but watch this, this is really cool. Watch. Oh yeah, that's hot stuff, guys. Now the hotter you get this, the more effective this works, but it does work a lot quicker, so you got to be careful. Okay? Now I'm just going to wait for a few seconds. You'll notice this is all real time, guys. We're 13 minutes into this video. That stupid parking sign, it's gotten me so many times. Okay, we're about halfway there. We need quite a bit more temperature change, so let's go in for a little deeper dig. Now the reason you're leaving this not soaked all the way to the top is because you have somewhere to hold on. This stuff is so hot, and if you go all the way to the top, then you'll, yeah, the cup's pretty hot. Okay, this is one of those things you probably don't want your wife to catch you doing. Unless you're into arguments. So take this and just drape it over, and that's going to help a lot. In fact, if you got another, like a hand towel or something, you can just drop that over it too. It does take a second for it to work. You can kind of see the steam coming out occasionally. Okay, so now if you really got to get aggressive with this, the other way you can do it is you can actually take, double check, okay, we got a little bit of dimpling here. So what you're going to do is while it's dimply, you're going to run over it with your thumb with a little bit of a moistened thumb and just smooth it. You won't even know. It'll look just like the rest of the foam when you're done, okay? This has been crushed in pretty good. So we're going to have to get a little bit more aggressive with this. No big deal. It just takes a little bit more effort. And what we're going to do is, while this is a little bit cooler because it's really hot otherwise, we're going to take this, we're going to hold it, protect your hand, okay? I'm going to grab it by the rim of the cup, Make sure I have it, and then I'm going to use this to dump. Be careful, steam will burn you, okay? I try to avoid that process if I can. It's a lot messier, it's harder to control, but it certainly works fine. You see? See how much closer we are now. We're not there yet, but we're really close. So I'm going to pause it. I'll get a little bit more water cooked up, and we'll pick back up when it's done cooking. Okay, so I set that one for 4 minutes, and I filled it most of the way up, like 85% of the way full. And you can see already, guys, a little bit of dimpling. While that's cooking, you're just going to rub that and make sure it doesn't keep doing it. And keeping in mind that, you know, this doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to be hidden, but you don't want it to be a huge divot, because the huge divot can actually change the airflow quality, which is going to change the way this thing flies. Keep in mind that we're 15 minutes into this project and things are getting a lot better. I'm just trying to figure out, what am I missing that's causing this to be tipped so bad? And maybe it was tipped so bad, I'm looking at the relative position from the main wing to the horizontal stab. Maybe it just needs to be pulled down tighter. I don't know. But I mean, maybe it wasn't right to begin with. It sure seemed like it was tracking pretty straight if it wasn't. And I don't see any damage anywhere else, guys. So I must have hit it and then just spun around. I know I went nose down, but look how good that looks already. There's like no damage there. I must have just clipped the prop as the canopy portion came off. And I'm looking down inside just to see if anything else is twisted or funny looking. No, it's just not. This is the decal that holds the top and bottom on, and there's a seam there, which is super similar to most of the other UMX planes. Oh, by the way, I mentioned this in the description, but this plane all up was 4 ounces, so you don't need your FAA drone registry unless you're trying to like overdo it. I don't know why you would do that, because this thing doesn't qualify as a mandatory to be reported. Okay, so because it has to be 0.55 pounds, guys, if you didn't know that, that would be 8 ounces, and then whatever the percentages, 5.5 pounds, so it'd be like 8.4 or whatever ounces. Do the math yourself, don't trust me. So I don't see anything damage wise back here. It just maybe it was twisted to begin with. Alright, so a little bit more hot water. We're at 1:36. It's boiling. See? Now you can do this on the stove if you prefer, for a little more control. Shoot, I should have been trying to cook this out while we were doing that, but let's do that next while we're waiting, okay? Because this is going to be too hot right now. Just lay this down. You see this little divot is all we're trying to correct. And then just, this is pretty light duty. I want to make sure I don't put too much weight on it. This one's different because it doesn't have as much surface area. I'm going to actually plop this on top of it, okay? And then I'd like to be able to apply some pressure, so I'm just going to very carefully apply pressure. Okay, now we're going to let that work for just a second. And you guys can surely see that a lot of that damage has come out of it now. It's not perfect. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close. It's pretty good. I'm just able to smooth it a little bit now. I don't know if oversaturation with light usually makes these white pieces hard to see, guys. Okay, so that, let's try just a little bit more heat. We'll just drip water over it this time. Very hot water. We're going to nuke this again while we're waiting. I don't want to leave that in there. And remember, guys, this is just hot water, so it's otherwise clean. Oops. So, looking at this close, you'll notice that there's a little bit of a bend to it now. That's probably just because of the indiscrepancy in the way that I glued it. But that's okay, because it's going to get hidden once we glue it back down. I think it looks good. I think it's as good as it needs to be. Let's go put a little glue in this. There's one more spot. Now, it's always best to try to let this dry if you can, but I noticed there's one spot where we still got an opening here, an open crack. So I'm going to take the thin CA. I'm going to pull this apart just like that, and I'm going to put a drip in there. I'm going to try to hold the nozzle right up against the cut. Now this time I'm spreading it because I want that to make a little bit of a skin on this area. Then I'm going to go back and I'm just going to recoat the bottom. Not a lot, a little bit. And we'll grab a Q-tip and just spread it. Guys, I don't even know how much they charge at Horizon for these parts. My guess is it's probably pretty high. Okay, cool. So now we've got that skin on there. And we'll just let that set up. And that looks pretty good. It's pretty straight and it looks good. You wouldn't notice from a distance for sure. We probably added a gram worth of glue. Well, no, we probably didn't get a gram worth. But it's definitely not without compromise. It would have been better to be flying this thing right now, in my opinion. Okay, there's our timer. Clean up your water so you don't have a huge mess. Alright, so this is what we're going to do now. We're going to go ahead and pick this back up, and we're going to try to bend right here. The other thing is, I wonder if we have a bend in this. I don't think we do. If we did, I would brace with my middle finger and push the top with my thumb. Okay? No, see, that's not the problem. It's the horizontal stab. It's not broken, though. I've broken the little carbon fiber strips in these before, and that's not what's happened here, guys. Not sure what the heck is going on. It's almost like I need to shim this side over. Well, we'll hold it tight in a minute. Okay, so this time we're not using the sponge for this step. We can actually put that away. A wet cup's going to give us better traction, but this is going to be hotter this time, so just be careful. It's warm. Now we're just trying to get this last little bit straightened out, okay? Oh, son of a gun, I ran into the wall. Okay, you see the dimpling, guys? That dimpling needs to be addressed quickly. Okay? If you address it quickly, it won't be a problem. If you wait, it will stay there. Then you'll have to heat it back up to take it out. We're so close, guys. We're so close. We're not there, but we're close. Now I'm just getting a little bit more mechanically strong with it. I'm just trying to kind of squish it together to pull that little bend out, knowing that I'm going to come back in a second and put more hot water on it. Okay? So more hot water coming. The longer you can get the hot water to linger in the spot that you want to impact, the better. Okay? Okay, so the seams where it had pushed in are mostly disappeared now. Guys, that looks pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's really close. I'm going to do one more batch of hot water, and I'm going to come back for the last little bit so you can watch. Okay, so this time I did 6 minutes on almost a full cup of water because we're going to be dumping it all. And I can give you about a 90% guarantee that's going to take that last little bit out. Because right now this stuff is excited and it's really easy to puff up. So, we will give you guys a shot of that. But while we wait, let's go ahead and glue this tail section back. Because we do have to glue that. I'm just hoping this is an optical illusion though. Okay, so it looks like I need to pull it as far over as I can to this side. And then that's going to help to level the wings relative to the main wing. So why don't I go ahead and we're going to glue underneath the horizontal stab. You see that, guys? Looks like it's tack glue. It's not even CA. suppose it's possible that the foam just got damaged, like squished. See, that looks pretty close now, guys. I don't know what the heck I did different. Well, it's stuck again. The foam tack, once I pulled it apart, released it, and pushed it back down, it's held again, guys. Okay. Maybe the foam tack glue was never totally set up at the factory. Look how close that is, guys. You see what I'm talking about? This gap over here is slightly bigger than this gap. On a UMX, that's fine. So, option one, let's tape it here. That's going to be the better option because then it's a semi-permanent. We can always glue it, but if we glue it, then we don't get a second chance at reattaching it. Now, when I go to take this thing apart for whatever reason, that's probably going to catch me off guard. But if you glue this tail section down, you run into one big compromise, and that is the simple fact that you won't be able to replace it neatly. Okay? So I'm squishing it toward me to try to take out that little indisparity there. And we're going to see how this works. We may have to redo that taping. And where the tape made a divot, I'm just going to slide my thumb along it. Oh, gorgeous, guys. Get you a dark backdrop. Look at that. We are really, 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 really close now. Okay, cool. So that's held. It's solid. It's not coming undone. The hot water's almost done for this. This is dry now. Oh, yeah. Just got a little crush mark on there. I'm not proud of it, but, you know, scars prove that you were living at one point. And look at that. We're almost done. It's boiling. It's at a fast boil, so we can go ahead and use that now. That's going to be really hot. So I'm going to double this up this time. Just got to make sure I can handle the heat. Yep, I can. Move that out of the way this time. And we're just, gosh, I was having trouble finding the damage. Woo! That is really hot. I can't hardly hold it. Okay, so now moisten the thumb. And just work it. And we are so close, guys. I'm just going to go up and down a little teeny bit with that foam. Just trying to relax it back into its home position. Concentrate that hot water as much as you can to the spot you're trying to fix. Then you have less of this that you've got to do. Okay, guys, that is so close now. So close. Okay, you can barely see the divot. I'm having trouble distinguishing where the damage is now. Okay. Guys, it's not going to get any better than that because it's done. It looks good. It feels good. Okay, I'm just going to dry it now so that we can re-glue our leading edge slat. Make sure nothing else is broke free. Is this wing glued on or taped on? I haven't figured that out yet. It's got tape on the top, but it looks like the tape, probably holds us into some foam tack, which is not CA, guys. Okay, so I'm going to clean this up. Okay, so everything looks good. So I cut a couple of pieces out of this foam, or out of this paper towel, and I'm going to glue these in and coat them with CA just to strengthen that joint, but it's going to be on the unseen portion. So running short on time, so I'm going to pause it while I soak this with CA. I'm going to use kicker to set it once I'm happy with its position. See, guys? You won't even see it from the front. I'll show you when it's done. Okay, so now that we got the CA on there, we're just wiping it with this Q-tip to spread it. This time no kicker is necessary, and that's going to strengthen this joint. So we'll just reapply this to the wing, and I'll give you a final shot before we call this quits for this video. Alright guys, there you have it. Smooth as can be. Nice air gap. Wings are square to each other. This thing's ready to fly. In fact, speaking of, we're going to go do it. Here's the only damage that I didn't yet fix and I may not fix. And that has to do with the canopy hood. So, I don't know. I might take some cotton and build that up, and then just use some CA to hold it in place. But to be honest, it does give us a little bit more room to work with when we're pulling the canopy off. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Buy the products from our links below for the affiliates, and you can help support the channel. Come back for more, guys. Bye.